Well, it is time now for our daily edition of Truth or Fake, a daily fact-checking segment in association with the France 24 Observers. I'm joined by James Creedon. Hi, James.
Hi, Tom.
Now, let's begin with a photo that claims to show a children's slide in a park in Paris. Now, it's quite shocking, and it's resulted in criticism of the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo. Tell us more.
That's right. Now, the image has shocked many online. You'll see it now yourself, and it's a children's slide, but the form of it would lead one to think of other things. And it obviously, in particular, the fact that it's meant to be in a children's playground, that's pretty shocking, right? I think anyone, no matter how liberal or open-minded they are, would find that upsetting. And you can see in this tweet here, Hidalgo, have you kind of lost your mind entirely? That's the name of the Paris mayor. This is a new game in my children's school. In fact, it was meant to be a playground at a school, right? So that's what was being claimed. In any case, it got shared by many people, including this far-right politician, talking about these pseudo-feminists doing this sort of stuff. And it got shared quite a bit. That was taken down very quickly, I hasten to add, by Jérôme Rivière. But he was talking about this being an example of how our society has become ever more perverted. Now, the thing is, if you do that good old technique, the reverse image search, Tom, it does indicate that this was not, in fact, at a Paris park at all. In fact, on a Reddit thread, there was an indication that this was a film set in Canada, in a place called Maple Ridge. So that would be altogether more coherent and believable, because I think Anne Hidalgo, no matter how left-wing she might be, would probably not rubber stamp or green light, crazy children's slides like that. But a lot of people shared it. And for example, Albert Zenu, he's a senior journalist at Le Figaro, one of the conservative newspapers here in France. He had to apologise on Twitter, saying that he had taken this image to be real and had commented on it, and he was excusing himself, or rather apologising. Now, it's worth noting that if you look at the comments on tweets such as this, let's go back up to it, it should be a bit of a giveaway, because some people believed it, a lot of people did believe it, but others actually put up comments linking to the real news story. So they had done the research that they had seen that other media had. So if you look at the comments in a fake story like this, which is satirical, it should be an indication or a bit of a giveaway. Also, looking at the nature of the account in question, this is somebody who's looking for more followers. He blatantly says it in one of his tweets. Also, if you look, he presents himself as having worked at the Prime Minister's office, ex-Matignon. So it's clearly an account that has a lot of tongue-in-cheek content. And as we know, as I said, this tweet, if you examine it in the details, shows that he is looking for more followers. And we know, because of an MIT study, that false news travels 6 times faster on Twitter than truthful news. Accurate stories rarely reach more than 1,000 people. But get this, prominent false news items routinely reach between 1,000 and 100,000 people. So did he do it on purpose to try to generate a lot of bad buzz for Anne Hidalgo? Possibly, because actually, if you go on Twitter, Saccage Paris, or the vandalism of Paris, is an ongoing hashtag for years now, accusing her of doing a very bad job in terms of allowing public installations to become that bit more shoddy. So it's criticism of her in all sorts of ways, shapes and form. And also the fact that Paris, a couple of years ago, green-lighted this particularly controversial sculpture of tulips in memory of the victims of the Paris attacks. A lot of people hated that, Tom, and they said it was extremely vulgar. Some saying, even comparing it to 12 anuses, right, or 11 anuses on stems. This is one commentator who was very critical of that at the time, saying that the Jeff Koons sculpture is vulgar, and this Paris City Hall should never have accepted it as a gift or spent money on allowing it to be put in a prominent place just off the Champs-Élysées. So it's believable, in some respects, even though it might seem far-fetched, that Anne Hidalgo and a left-wing Paris City Hall could allow for monstrosities to happen.
Okay, so a nightmarish April Fool, perhaps 6 months late or early.
Yes.
Let's move on now to the South Korean TV show Squid Game, and that's generating some fake news too.
It is indeed. Now, let's just have a very quick look at what Squid Game is. Now, it's a particularly violent show, 9 episodes. There's a children's game, 1, 2, un, deux, trois, cela, it's called here in France, or statues in the English-speaking world. And there is a real fear that children could go out and imitate this. And actually, a number of media here fact-checked what they thought was an incredible piece of information, that one school in Belgium was warning parents to be very careful about allowing their children to watch this. In fact, it's true. In this case, this is not fake. It is a true story. There is a fear, and in fact, there have been cases in one school in Belgium where children did act out violently. And so some people thought it was not believable, but of course we know that there is a risk in a world where there's ever more virtual reality, where there's ever more violence on TV, where children are more and more cut off from reality and living in a kind of a virtual world, that they could act out on what they see. So it's a real concern that this quite violent series could encourage children to be violent, even though it's not allowed for under 18s for now.
Okay, well, life imitating art. Well, frankly, the title puts me off Squid Game.
Right,
Not interested.
Me too.
Thank you very much indeed,
Tom.
James Creedon, for today's edition of Truth or Fake. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Do stay with us.